Say, look here, man, it's been a minute, but look, I just gotta say this here real quick. I'll be brief. And of course, I'm not speaking for all my people, because all my people aren't in this situation. A lot of us have left the community because of crime, because we've allowed the youngsters to just ruin it. That's just what it's been. It's been like that since I was coming up. I was one of those youngsters. However, it's one thing we should understand about community when it comes to this nation and equity. Understanding equity and value, and seeing the value within ourselves as a people, as a whole, as a culture of people. Now, we talk about gentrification over and over and over and over again. We can gentrify our own communities. Because to define the word gentrify simply means to reface, to add value to the middle class, like in the middle class standard. There's nothing wrong with that, because that's what the black community used to be, period. That's what it was, a middle class community. Now, this book right here, I know a lot of brothers and sisters have read this book and they're familiar with this book. Now let me bring back to your remembrance the first sentence in this book. It says, our prosperity as a nation depends upon the personal financial prosperity of each of us as individuals. The first sentence, great intro in the foreword of the book. Now let's get one thing clear. Yeah, we're African Americans or black within the nation that may be racist, have racist leadership, racist laws or politics, but we're here. Therefore, we have no other choice but to contribute to the nation's prosperity, period. So if we're here and in our communities, we understand we have value. The way we increase our value and our worth is to take care of our communities, to gentrify our own communities, to reface, to add value to our own communities. Every community has the potential to have an even balance, an even level of value, and appraisal value. But if you know in your mind, and when you're constantly having conversations as a culture of people, that these people did this to us systemically, or these people did this to us lawfully or unjustly, or these people did this and this. Okay, we know that. Now we also know that we have people who are educated enough to teach us, to inform us, to give us knowledge and information on topics that we may not have been informed of before. If we know that, and then can turn around and have the conversation that, okay, well, this is the reason why we're in this condition. Okay, now we know the problem. We've gotten to the root. Now let's start talking about solutions. Okay, now let's start talking about how we can do our part to not concern ourselves with getting a hand from the people who we know may or may not love you, but simply do it for yourselves, because now the ball is in our court, period. It's easy. However, it's not easy mentally. I get that, because it's an emotional battle within, and that's something that we have to fight to get through. But on the same token, we also have people to help us with that as well. But that's where, once again, the unity comes in, where the oneness comes in. A skill that one has can help another. The knowledge that one has can help another. We constantly have to be bouncing ideas and skills off of one another so that we can increase and add equity to our value, our current value, because we have to come from here to get to here. And a lot of people, celebs and all, know this, but it's about not giving away turkeys at Thanksgiving or backpacks and all that bullshit, but it's about informing the people in the community of their value, because that's what's going to add equity to the community. That's what's going to allow the community to get in the ball game when it comes to ownership. Not just being out here marching and being out here complaining about the root of what happened. We know that already. We've been saying that for years. Okay, well, let's talk about what we can do outside of that. In the meantime, while we're putting our demands on the table, or while we're going over here seeing about change and reform. In the meantime, while we're here, what are we going to do? That's all I'm saying. So while we're here, we need to know our value and understand the strength of our value. The strength in our value in beautifying and gentrifying our own communities is going to allow the south side or the west side or the east side or the north side, whichever side of the city that is predominantly black and brown, to look like the other side of town. Now, I get emotionally and historically, we're just grateful to have our piece of the pie. But if your piece is expiring and getting old, it's time to rejuvenate your piece. It's time to bake a new pie. Period. So if you know you have typically 30 years on a mortgage, and then you got another, okay, so this paid off now, so then you got another 30 years of a whole nother generation, then you got another 30 years of a whole nother generation, and they're not improving the curb appeal or improving the value or adding to the increasing the value so that your community can have equity, then how can you contribute to the prosperity of the nation? So, yeah, there's differences. Yeah, there's a divide. But we understand the underlining of it all. But mentally, we have to understand our fight. Mentally, we have to understand how we fight economically. We can go march anywhere or go anywhere and make demands. But what are we going to do economically, mentally, with the information that we have, with all the educated people that we have? Our fixes and our issues are simple. But we got to stop asking people to fix it for us because we're all we need. And if we're going to ask constantly and march in the streets for inclusiveness, we can't try to exclude ourselves from the prosperity of the nation. And understanding that we have a part to play in spite of, period. Because I don't give a damn if we do say we're going to start your own black political party and all of that. Either way it go, you're still under United States rule. You're still under United States government rule and regulations. So either way it go, you got to contribute to the nation's prosperity, period. But in order to do that, you have to contribute to the prosperity of your own community. So if you're within a nation and the nation sees that you're not contributing to the prosperity of your own people, how you think they're going to treat us? Because we're showing them that we don't have no value. We're showing them we don't have no value in the nation. Yeah, man, I used to be one of them knuckleheads. I used to be one of them guys. But the thing is, I'm man enough to say, you know what? When you talk about the crime bill, and motherfuckers keep going back to the past about what Biden or Clintons and them did with the crime bill that locked brothers and sisters, I'm man enough to admit and say, you know what? Because of what I did and what some of my partners, my old partners did, you know what I mean? And some of these rapper guys too, that's trying to stay on the forefront and talk for the culture, and some of my old homegirls too, you know what I'm saying? And some of yours too. What a lot of us aren't man and woman enough to say is, because I was one of those youngsters terrorizing the old folks in the neighborhood that made them didn't want to call the laws on me when I know I was dead ass wrong for poisoning the community. And then we got this no snitch policy in place. And then we crowd for the government to come clean it up. And then the government looking at us and our communities, how we devaluing it. And they saying how fearful the pillars of the community are, and how fearful the people are in the communities that they created and bought and built for us and our generation to go on, to pass on to our kids. When they add crowd to the government to come clean it up for us, they're going to say, you know what? Y'all niggas, goddamn me, don't see the value in what you got. You don't see the value in what your elders did for you. So you know what? Y'all got the elders scared. Y'all threatening to come run up in their crib. You're shooting up their houses. You're beating their ass. You're robbing them when they walk down the street. So you know what? Fuck it. We just gonna throw your ass away. You're a fucking menace to society. Fuck it. We can't sit and say we don't get it. When we read all these books and we know this as brothers You know what I'm saying? And we know this as men and women who been in the streets, but we can't pick and choose when we want to apply the knowledge. You can't do that. You can't pick and choose when you want to say one day you want to be focused on group economics, and then want to be reading The Rich Man of Babylon to get knowledge to improve yourself, and then want to say on the flip side of that, then you want to read The Spook Who Sat by the Door, and then want to say, oh man, them niggas in politics, Herman Cain, or what's the motherfucker? I forget all them brothers and sisters' name, but all the black folks that's in government and politics, oh man, they some sellouts, man. They some coons. They this, that, and the third. But you read the book or watch the movie The Spook That Sat by the Door and want to say, have the conversation, man, we need some of them. Now we got some, you're knocking them. Because truth be told, 95 or 98% of them come from where we come from, and you know it. So how you gonna ask for change and have a voice when we got people in there in positions to aid us and help give us information to teach and educate the community and help out in whichever inkling of a form that they can, and we knocking them? It don't make no goddamn sense. So if we gonna get knowledge and information, we have to apply it and quit coming back to our folks who down where we come from and complaining with them as opposed to educating them and giving them knowledge to break mental chains. Because that's the problem. Let's be real. Because before, a lot of you brothers and sisters may have went to the penitentiary. Before, a lot of you brothers and sisters may have gotten shot, stabbed. Before, a lot of you brothers and sisters may have lost your best friend. Before, a lot of you brothers and sisters may have had whatever heartbreak or issue you had in your life. You know, ultimately, you was fighting a mental and emotional battle within yourself that had you being the man or woman that you was. Period. So you ain't got to go back and be complaining with them folks. Help them break their mental chains. Help them heal from their emotional issues and say, hey, brother, hey, sister, because I understand where you come from. I was there, too. We grew up together. So, hey, dig, I'm going to help you through this. This how you get through it. You know that's what it takes. So why sit there and complain with them? Help them heal mentally so they can see the value within themselves and understand they have value. Because the objective in life is to increase in value and equity, gain equity. Whatever you do in life, every year you want to increase and be better and better. Same applies to the community. But you can't ask somebody who you want to say and assume and constantly preaching that they don't give a damn about you or your people, to constantly ask them for stuff, and then when they do come help, they want something in return. It don't work like that. You got to do for self. Period. That's it, man. Look, man, like this book say, which a lot of us read, and we look at it like it's the Bible, because that's what it say, the Bible of financial freedom, right? And a lot of brothers, they read this. A lot of street guys read this. A lot of sisters read this. A lot of folks read this book, whether street or not. But look, you know like I know, the first sentence in this book is say, our prosperity as a nation depends upon the personal financial prosperity of each of us as individuals. But either way it goes individually, just understand that we are one. So the gentrification that we complaining about in our community, we can gentrify ourselves. Look up the word and see what it means, actually means, the definition of it. Not what it's turned into in our face. Because what it turns into in our face is new ownership doing it. Because we didn't do it. We have a lot of small businesses. We have a lot of small business. We have a lot of middle-sized business. We have a lot of business that's thriving. We have a lot of small business that need to just shut their asses down because they're struggling month to month, hustling. Where they could merge with a medium-sized or the popping business and say, hey, brother, sister, you know, or the larger businesses and more prosperous business can reach to them and say, hey, brother, sister, listen, I got an opportunity for you. How about you buy into my business model and we franchise my business, as opposed to constantly being in competition with one another all the goddamn time. Now, I get that, you know, we'll rather struggle than work for somebody else. But look here, man, we got to lose that mentality because it's about to come up. It's about setting a number for yourself. And number is a whole nother video that's coming too. But look, this ain't no holier than thou type of conversation. This is not me saying I got my shit all together. No. All I'm saying is I can relate. I was one of them brothers and sisters. I was one of them. Mentally, physically, whatever. But I elevated mentally. I know better. I do better. I grew better because I started applying the stuff I was feeding myself, my spirit. You know, I don't allow people to think for me. I allow to be inspired by people. Be inspired by people. Understand that it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to not be what you once was. It's okay to grow past that. That don't make you weak. Because a lot of times our definition of what we know to be strength is just a facade. Let's keep it real. And a lot of what we know to be strength is just a lot of emotional shit. You know what I'm saying? Covered up with our aggression to try to keep people off us to prove to them don't fuck with us. But I get it. That's the environments we come from. I get it. But listen, understand you have value. And when you understand you have value, your contributions and your desire to contribute not only to yourself, but to your community and to your nation will be totally different. Because I don't give a damn if we was to go all move back to Africa. I don't give a damn if we was to go over there with them folks in Georgia and go move in their communities and do whatever. We still gonna have to contribute in a prosperous fashion, period. And that takes getting your mind right, period. You're gonna have to contribute, period. In a way that's equitable, in a way that's prosperous, period. So understand your value. Your value comes from here, your intellect, which gives you the heart to work hard, which gives you that drive and motivation. No matter what it is that motivates you to do it, do it. Because you have value. Big fact. 100.